I back in Thailand for the 10th time? Does it really need to be explained? Hi there, good afternoon. How's it going? Today is Thursday, March 27th, 2025, currently 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 30 degrees Celsius, another hot day here in Thailand. This is Koh Larn and Tawain Beach, a really spectacular one. Look at that water. Lots of people out in it having a good time. This is my second day on Koh Larn here, a small island just across the water from Pattaya and about a 2-hour journey in total from Bangkok, depending on where you're starting from. But I flew into Bangkok and then caught a bus that same morning after landing to Pattaya, about a hour and 20 minute or 90 minute or so bus ride, and then there are lots of ferries and also speedboats going from Pattaya to Koh Larn here, and so I took a 30-minute ferry for $1 over here. So a very convenient island for visiting if you don't want to spend a whole day or whatever on a bus or train, and it is really quite nice. There are a number of nice beaches. Yesterday I showed another one up there that I really liked that was smaller, a cute little bay, and then also another one around the corner over there. And so the plan for today is to go see some more of the beaches which are on the more southern part of the island. So I have a motorbike over here, 300 baht or $9 US per day that I rented at my hotel. No deposit or passport required to get the motorbike there. So you will be seeing the other side of the island soon. It is quite small, about 1 kilometer or so wide, and then maybe 5 or something kilometers long. And so you can actually walk around and see a fair amount, but there are hills, as you can see here, and so it is a good idea to have the motorbike. Speaking of hills, there is something on top of this one that I want to try to investigate. So that is going to be the first mission of the day, is let's see if I can get to what I want to try to get to and then get some good views. And then you can also take various other forms of transport to get around the island if you don't want to rent a motorbike, including a sangtao right there, the shared pickup trucks, or a motorbike taxi. I haven't seen any tuk-tuks on this island yet, so I think that this is where I need to go to get to where I want to try to get to. Pray respect to the Buddha. Blessing of Avalokiteshvara. All right, let's put the camera away for this hill. Wow. Look at that. That is not what I'd seen. Up there, higher up, is what I'd seen. I didn't know about this. Whoa. Sawadee Cup. What a sight, man. That is just phenomenal. And then that out there sticking out is a separate little island. Let's go look at the view of the other side. Here, obviously, the Buddha. There, a Buddha stupa, and it looks like that is what the other thing is that I had seen up there. Maybe a stupa, maybe a temple, not sure, but the mission is going to be to try to get up there. There must be a way, and I would assume it's through here. So that could be a really fun hike, as long as it isn't bushwhacking. Let's look at the other side of the island and the city of Pattaya out there, which you probably can't see quite as well on video, but a major city of about 1 million. That is the whole metro area. A whole long skyline there. And then another little tiny island there that doesn't look like it has too much on it. I'm not seeing any beaches there. And so down there is the main town of Koh Larn and the pier where you get on or off a boat, and I can see several boats heading towards it right now. Sawadee Cup. I can go up the hill? Thank you. Okay, she seemed to confirm that it is indeed possible to get up there. So a Buddhist stupa representing the path to enlightenment. There should be 13 different layers to the stupa. So let's see. 1, the bottom, 2, and then 3, the little square thing, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on the top. Oh wow, looks like another huge Buddha statue. Wow, there is really quite a lot to see here. Massive Buddha statue. Amazing. Hey, this is supposed to be a hike. I guess I could have just motorbiked up there, but let's go the hard way. It isn't really that far by the looks of it. So, I guess what we're hiking to is a pagoda, not a stupa. It doesn't appear to have the same 13 levels, so I forget exactly what a pagoda is. Maybe kind of a small temple, like a shrine. No bikini, no alcohol. Good thing I didn't wear my bikini. Koh Larn Conservation. Catching is strictly prohibited. Violators are punishable by law. If only that girl in Australia had seen this sign. We have 3 very exotic animals here. The white squirrel, the pangolin, and the very rare Gallus gallus. What's a Gallus gallus? It's not very far, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. Almost there, but this is an intense uphill. Whoa, look at that view. So yes, a pagoda is basically a shrine. Oh man, an even better view. And from here you can just barely see that that is in fact a separate little island out at the end out there. Okay. There's a trail going further up. I don't want to go up more, but I have to. I am contractually required to complete the mission. Okay. Looks like this is the top right here, so not much further up. Yay, I'm glad. Looks like that is the peak of the hill. No view from up here. So, now that we are on level ground and going downhill, then I will answer the question, why do I keep going back to the same countries over and over again? Although, perhaps the obvious answer is obvious. Because I feel like it. But beyond that, it is a common question and understandable from viewers who may very well prefer to see new places, although I am in a new place. Never been to this island before, but I get it. New countries, new parts of the world, sub-Saharan Africa, more of South America, more of the South Pacific, Tibet, China, Mongolia, all of which are places that I would love to visit. So the only reason that I haven't traveled to any place that I haven't traveled to yet is because I went somewhere else. That is the only reason why. It isn't a matter of no interest in seeing sub-Saharan Africa. There are tons of amazing looking countries and places in sub-Saharan Africa. I know that many travelers find it to be their most interesting part of the world, but my most interesting part of the world is the Mediterranean. And of course India, and of course Thailand, Asia in general, and many other places. So first I will just recap my trip so far, the past 3.5 months of traveling. I left the United States driving north in my Honda CR-V, drove into Canada. That was early December. I went there to visit Banff National Park, which I had barely just seen once and wanted to see more of, and to renew my Canadian passport. My US passport has only 4 blank pages left in it, and so I needed to get a new passport in order to start another trip, whether it was going to be the US one or the Canadian one. I've been wanting to get my Canadian passport renewed. Born in Vancouver, raised in the United States, American parents and family, but born in Canada, and so I have citizenship, despite the utterings of somebody that the United States is the only country with birthright citizenship. That is not true at all. There's also Canada, and around 30 other countries have birthright citizenship. So being born in Canada, then I'm a citizen. So drove up to Canada to get my Canadian passport renewed. Got that done. Flew to Mexico in part because that was one of the only places that there was a direct flight from Calgary that wasn't going to somewhere in Canada or in the US. And so I basically flew to Mexico just to leave Canada, leave behind the brutal cold, and get somewhere warm and figure out my plans. Ended up spending more time in Mexico than I was planning to initially, because I got some good suggestions of new places to go. Then I wanted to go to New Zealand, which I hadn't been to yet. Highly recommended, of course. But getting there from Mexico was going to be complicated any which way I did it. And the series of flights to get there straight, taking multiple flights, was going to be really rough, and so I decided to break it up. And so that is why I stopped in Hawaii, the island of Kauai, also because of my timeshare and the fact that there was one available there for a week, which made it much more possible for me to stay in Hawaii, because otherwise the accommodation is insanely expensive. And then from there I decided to make a short stop in Tahiti, see Tahiti and Moorea, part of French Polynesia, not a new country, even though I hadn't been there before, because French Polynesia is part of France, an overseas territory. And so I planned to stay there just a few days because my destination was New Zealand. So then flew to New Zealand, and as I discussed in a video, after 9 days of driving around the North Island, I decided that I was done driving and just kind of wanted a change of scene, since New Zealand reminded me so much of where I'm from in California. And so I kind of almost didn't feel like I was traveling in a foreign country. I do absolutely want to go back and go to the South Island, which is the more spectacular part of New Zealand, as everyone says, and do a proper road trip there when I am in the mood for a road trip. So then flew to Philippines, my third time to the Philippines, because there are thousands of islands and much more to see there. Visited 4 islands and then flew to Taiwan. Relatively short trip. I forget now if it was 8, 9, 10 days around there. Really liked Taiwan. More to see there as well. I left because, for one thing, it's a small island, and so not as much to see as other places. I really liked it, but one drawback was the lack of other travelers, and so you're really on your own in most of the places outside of Taipei. Pretty much the only Western traveler around, and so that does kind of get a bit old, just being, you know, alone in a strange land. It is also fun and exciting, but after a while then I was just, you know, in the mood for a change. And so I decided to go back to India before it heated up in the desert of Rajasthan. I wanted to go back to Pushkar and have a couple weeks there relaxing, and then from there traveled down to Gujarat and visited a few of the best places to see in Gujarat. And then my decision to come back to Thailand was in part because I have plans to fly to Nepal. I actually just booked my flight today, Kathmandu direct to Nepal, for about $180 Air Asia, because April is trekking season. So mid-April, flying to Nepal, and I will be meeting somebody there. So you'll find out who that is once I get there. But an understandable question is, well, why not go see more of Cambodia or Myanmar or Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia beyond Bali? So those are all good ideas, and hopefully I will get the chance to do that in the future. But as somebody who has been traveling for 35 years now, almost exactly, May 2nd, 1990, I landed in London, United Kingdom, for a summer of backpacking around Europe to 10 countries of Europe. Since then, I have visited now 97 countries in total, which is basically exactly half of the countries in the world. As far as how many countries there are on planet Earth, then it depends on how you calculate it. There are 193, or 195, or 197, or perhaps more than that. So there are 193 member states of the United Nations. As I have mentioned previously, I count my countries based on the United Nations member states. And so there are 193, plus Vatican City and Palestine have observer status at the UN. So basically they have a representative who can't vote. And so if you include Vatican City and Palestine, which I do, then it is 195. 97 times 2 is 194. And so 195 countries, I've been to basically half of them. And then to get to 197, you include Kosovo and Taiwan, which are, for all practical purposes, separate countries and recognized as such by many other nations, but they don't have member status at the UN. And then you can get more than 197 if you include Northern Cyprus, which is almost as independent as Kosovo and Taiwan. It is basically a separate country, but doesn't have the same amount of recognition as Kosovo and Taiwan. And then there is Western Sahara, Transnistria. There was Nagorno-Karabakh, which no longer exists because it was taken over by Azerbaijan, and various other disputed territories. And then there's French Polynesia and Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, and Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, all U.S. territories, and then French Polynesia, part of France, as I said. And so it depends on whether you include those as countries. And then there is the United Kingdom, which of course includes England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. And so some people would include that as 4 countries. I count it as 1 country because the country is the United Kingdom, part of the United Nations in terms of its recognition. That's all a bit of a distraction from the answer to the question, well, why don't I go to more countries? So having been traveling as long as I have been and doing this for a job, then it is kind of a matter of keeping your sanity to not always be in an unfamiliar land. There are multiple reasons why I go back to countries. Because I like them, because I know that I'm going to enjoy them, because there is more to see in those countries that I have been to already. So this time, we'll see, but I might not visit a single island that I had already been to before, unless I go to Kokud, which I would go back to because the one time that I went there, back in 2007, I got sick for 5 days and didn't see hardly anything. So I want to go back there and see more. And then it's kind of a matter of balancing out the new places, the more challenging places, the unfamiliar experience of being in a completely new land, and all of the extra challenges, stresses, emotional, mental strain, and energetic, difficulty involved in going to these new places. All right, back at the parking lot. Howdy. Hi there. And then balancing that out with also going to new places that I haven't been to before, and getting deeper into unfamiliar territory. So every time I book a flight or catch a bus across a border, enter a new place, there is always a fair amount of calculation, strategy involved in terms of what are the cheapest flights? What does it cost to travel in that country, and what am I willing to pay at this time? Is there a lot to see in that country or not? And various other factors that determine where I'm going to go next. The weather is a big one. I canceled my plans to go to Japan, even though I really want to go see southern Japan, because it was all rainy and it wasn't going to be the best time to be there. And then part of it is just a matter of wanting to get deeper into places that I've been to before. So there's kind of this contradiction of criticisms in which people will say, well, why do you travel so fast? And then say, why do you keep going back to the same places? Now, if you think about it, those two criticisms are contradictory, because if I'm going back to a country, then I'm spending more time somewhere. And whether I'm traveling fast or not, I don't know. I see lots of other travel vloggers who go to a country and post 1 or 2 or 3 videos there, whereas I usually post, 10, 15, 20. I went to India the last time and posted 52 videos of India. Now, of course, there is the issue of whether you're staying in the same spot exactly for a long time or not. And there are just different ways to travel. Lots of people like to go to a country, get an apartment for 3 months, and stay in that one place for 3 months. And every 3 months, they change locations, so 4 places a year. Go for it, you know, that is a totally legit and rewarding experience, and just a different way of traveling. I'm just doing it the way that I like to do it. So I think that pretty much gets the idea across. There are many factors, and I absolutely look forward to going to a number of new places, certain places higher on my list than others. Top of my list for places, countries that I would like to travel to that I haven't been to yet, definitely Mongolia. Central Asia in general, the countries that I haven't been to yet. Tibet, which of course is part of China, but Bolivia, really want to see Bolivia. Namibia, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa. South Pacific, I would like to go back to French Polynesia and go to Bora Bora, looks incredible, and a couple of the other islands around there. More of South America, Chile, Argentina certainly. And I'm sure some other places that I will think of later, but one country at a time, one day at a time. It really just depends on what I'm in the mood for. All right, let's go jump in some water. So this is the road to the beach that I'm going to next. As you can see, it is just a narrow little lane only for motorbikes. This is a fun little path through the trees, and I just saw a man walking along wearing only a Speedo, so you can walk it, but it's quite a walk and a hot one. And boom, this might be the nicest beach on the island. All right, all right, all right. Look at that, man. This island really scores. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. This is looking like a great spot to hang for a while. Take a swim. Oh, yeah. It is so nice and crystal clear. Let's find a good spot to put the stuff and jump in. Looks like between these you have 2 or 3 different sections for swimming. And then if you want a thrill, there you go. So far, very shallow. But water looking very, very nice. Feeling cool. Wind has picked up a bit choppier than yesterday in general. But that is a very, very nice scene.